Howdy folks, John Ball here, Commissioner for the Thoroughbred Racing Challenge. I want to give you a recap of New Year's Day races. For me, it's actually a post-mortem since I tapped out in both of those races. First, take a look at the sham. As you remember, I picked McKinnon, trying to find a horse that might be a longer shot than Bafford's two horses, as well as the DeSormo brothers. And I ended up on the favorite there. A little frustrating because I thought the horse would be more like 3-1 and find out he's 6-5 just before post time. I really hate to switch horses once I've made my selection and cancel a bet. So I did not, and I regret it now, but I was asking McKinnon to do something he's never done recently, and that was to go from turf to dirt. And obviously he perhaps didn't like being behind horses and getting the kickback. The two horses that actually I thought were going to have a reasonable chance of hitting the board, but I thought at very, very low odds, turned out to go a little longer price, and they did run 1-2. My first sense was Bafford's pair. The one Flavian Pratt was riding, Rockefeller. I mean, let's face it, it's named after an industrialist, Standard Oil president, founder, John D. Rockefeller. You don't name a horse after a guy like that and have it be a bum. And that horse was my first selection originally, and I actually should have gone with that First Instincts. But the horse that won was New Grange with Johnny Velasquez up. I didn't realize until recently that Johnny Velasquez was traveling to to California to ride Bafford's horses. I think setting it up for later in the year as you get closer to the Triple Crown races. As you know, Bafford is been banned from racing at Churchill Downs. Certainly can't earn any points to the Derby, and until something is settled in the courts, he will remain outside the starting gate. Now that doesn't mean he may not transfer some of these horses to some other trainer come the other preps or Derby day. So we'll see what happens there. But I think Johnny V is developing a relationship, and that relationship has developed rather fast. If you look back in the last couple weeks, by the numbers I saw before yesterday's racing, Johnny V and Bafford have combined for like 9 out of 13 races to win. That's an incredible situation there, and certainly Bafford's putting them on live horses. So I missed getting Eve a horse to show in a 5-horse field, and that's embarrassing because obviously I must have lost about $4 or $8 or $12 on the rest of you in the contest. But it didn't hurt me too much at the Sham Stakes, but it hurt me a lot at the Smarty Jones, which I want to talk about next. As you may remember, I liked a horse called Homebrew, and I knew he'd be the favorite, but I thought he'd be 3-1. He closed to 5-2. That was pretty close to what I figured. And he has great connections. Brad Cox and Florent Giroux. I think the horse may not have liked the track there at Oak Lawn. So we'll see whether that off track, which I mentioned in the video when I told you my handicapping choices, I thought it would rain earlier that morning, but I thought it'd be more dry come race time. I was hoping for a fast track, but that wasn't to be. Not to take anything away from the winner, Dash Attack. You guys who picked that horse were right on. I have a problem picking any horse that has only won its maiden race. And in that race, a lot of those horses had only won their maiden, and there were 3 or 4, one of which was Homebrew, had multiple wins. And so that's why I was tending toward that, because that's a rule that I kind of follow. What I failed to remember is the trainer. Trainer number 1, Dash Attack, Kenny McPeak. You have to watch out for anything Kenny McPeak puts on the racetrack, because he will not place his young horses in a situation that he doesn't think that they have an excellent chance of doing that. Now, the other thing is, when I saw Kenny McPeak there, the first thing I thought of Sarava. And when I think of Sarava, I think of one of my Greatest handicapping, but my worst betting. Back in 2010, I picked Sarava to win the Belmont, and would you know it, I got scared. When the horses were, they actually announced the odds for the race, the horses were, Sarava was listed at 20 to 1. And I thought, well, I must be delirious to be picking a horse that's 20 to 1 in a Belmont. And I lost my nerve, and I didn't bet it. I changed to my Derby horse, Perfect Drift, and I swapped who I put on top, and I still had Sarava second. I had him hitting the board, and I thought he would go off at, certainly at those 20 to 1 odds, but I never imagined that horse would go off at 70 to 1. So my change of bet back in 2010 cost me about $20,000 from a $50 investment, and that forever will haunt me. And when I look at Kenny McPeak, and even at this time when I looked, first thing I thought is the ghost of Sarava. So I liked the horse, but I just didn't think that he would do what he did. Now, he did it on and off track. So he's won on a good track, and I'm not sure whether it was still sloppy or good on Saturday, but take nothing away from that horse. He was well back. In fact, he was with Homebrew going into the far turn. And Homebrew went up the middle and went nowhere. Not that he was blocked or anything, but Dash Attack just came closing on the outside, as all of you thought, that picked that horse. You're handsomely rewarded for that, and I'm a lot of dollars behind you.